The annals of science are littered with both brilliance and madness, a testament to humanity's relentless pursuit of knowledge. Yet, in this pursuit, there have been dark chapters where ethics were not just overlooked, but entirely abandoned. The history of human experimentation reveals a haunting narrative of moral compromises made under the guise of scientific advancement. Let us journey back to the early 20th century. The Tuskegee syphilis study, initiated in 1930, targeted African American men in Alabama. These individuals, wrongly informed they were receiving free health care, were instead left untreated to study the natural progression of syphilis. For 40 years, from 1932 to 1972, these men were deceived, as were their families, resulting in preventable suffering and deaths. Similarly, in Nazi Germany, the infamous concentration camp experiments conducted by Josef Mengele and others stand as a grim reminder of science devoid of humanity. Prisoners were subjected to freezing temperatures, deliberately infected with diseases, and suffered grotesque surgeries without anesthesia. These experiments were not for cures or compassion, but for an inhumane ideology of superiority and control. Across the Atlantic, ethical breaches were not confined to wartime or foreign lands. In the 1940s and 1950s, the United States witnessed the horrors of the Guatemalan syphilis experiments. Similarly, subjects were infected without their consent and left untreated, all under the direction of U.S. public health officials. The rationale was to understand syphilis and its treatment, but the cost was human dignity and rights. As the 20th century progressed, the term informed consent became increasingly significant. Yet the path toward acknowledging its importance was paved with the lives of those who unknowingly became subjects. The patients of the Jewish Chronic Disease Hospital in New York in 1963, injected with live cancer cells without their knowledge, the test subjects of the Stanford prison experiment, whose psychological torment under simulated conditions raised profound ethical questions. These dark episodes did eventually instigate change. The birth of the Nuremberg Code after World War II laid the groundwork for ethical standards in research, emphasizing voluntary consent and the necessity of beneficence. Later came the Declaration of Helsinki and the Belmont Report, both reinforcing the core principles of ethical research. Today, institutional review boards, informed consent processes, and ethical guidelines are in place to safeguard participants in research. However, the past lingers as a cautionary tale, reminding us that the pursuit of scientific understanding must never eclipse our ethical responsibilities. In conclusion, the history of human experimentation illuminates the shadows of greed, ignorance, and power unchecked. These stories are not merely cautionary, but essential in ensuring that the lessons learned fuel our vigilance and guide our ethics. The challenge remains to remember that every step forward in science must be accompanied by a commitment to humanity. We must never allow progress to be achieved at the expense of fundamental human rights. The past is our constant reminder, a compass guiding us toward a future where science and ethics walk hand in hand.